Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. My name is Anais. I'm a first-year PhD student in computer science, supervised by Professor Kashab, and I'm very excited to talk about my research today. And I will mainly talk about the results that we got from two tools that we've been working on these past few months. But if you have any more technical questions about how the tools work, I'm more than happy to answer them at the end or later at the drinks reception. Okay. So the grid becomes less popular for several reasons. First of all, the effects of climate change are becoming more visible, and the grid is still largely fossil fuel powered, unfortunately. Also, the grid becomes less reliable with blackouts happening more frequently, and energy prices are rising. So solar photovoltaic panels come to help because they allow to produce renewable energy locally by converting sunlight into electricity. The prices of solar modules are declining rapidly. They're becoming more affordable, and the growth of solar PV is as fast as the growth of cell phones. The problem is that, as we know, the sun is not always shining, and we can see the solar generation peaks around midday, while our typical load consumption peaks just before and after this peak. And so the gray area shows a short period of time where we can directly benefit from the solar energy that we produce in our homes. Stationary storage comes to help because it allows to store the excess solar energy that we generate during the day. The problem is that it's still very expensive and often costs more than $8,000 per home. Another trend that we observe is that EVs are rising and taking over the streets. They made up 13% of the market in 2022, but the market share is expected to reach 35% in 6 years. Another trend that we see is that after COVID, more people are working from home. I'm sure you've all experienced this yourselves. And this chart from The Economist shows that the trend is happening all over the world, that most people even want to increase their work from home frequency and double the time that they spend at home. So now that we've seen all these trends, I want to ask the question, what will the homes of the future look like? They will become these, what we call microgrids, which are houses that are still connected to the grid, but have the ability to produce and consume their locally generated energy. So most of them will probably have solar panels, some maybe storage or not, and some of them EVs. Now, if we want to retrofit our homes, what are the questions that we need to ask? One is, how much storage do we need? How many solar panels do we need? Does work from home affect the way we design these microgrids? Can the EV make the microgrid more efficient, or is it a burden? And when should we charge the EV, since it's often quite a high charging load? These are all questions that we looked at during our research. And in my talk, there are 3 messages that I want you to remember today. So the first message is that if we increase work from home, we obviously reduce our energy costs and our carbon emissions. The second message is that there are less obvious impacts of working from home, such as that we can increase our energy self-consumption and solve the supply-demand alignment problem that I've just shown you. And the third message is that if we introduce bi-directional EVs, which are basically the same cars as we use now as EVs, the only change is that we can not only charge the battery, but also discharge it and use the energy from the car. So the car is not only just a transportation mode, but also a stationary storage. So if we introduce bi-directional EVs and combine this with work from home, we get something really powerful and can reach up to 100% renewable energy lifestyle. Okay, so I've talked about tools. There are 2 tools that we developed to do this research. The first one is called Spaghetti, and it's basically a synthetic data generator for EV usage patterns that does probabilistic modeling of both commuting and non-commuting patterns and allows to model different types of work from home. So we found from our literature research that there are 3 main types, type 1 being the regular commuter, type 2 being a hybrid who works from home on some days and commutes on other days, so which corresponds to most people nowadays, and type 3 for people who only work from home every day. The second tool that we developed is called Risotto, and it allows you to determine the optimal design of your microgrid. So it tells you how much battery you need, how many panels you need on which roof segment, and what the optimal operation policy would be for your home. It has several features, so you can look at EVs, work from home patterns, user goals for EV charging, and preferences for the operation, and multiple roof segments. For Risotto, we're also building a web application that we're going to release at the end of the month. So if any of you are thinking about redesigning your homes, please go and use and test Risotto. Okay, so coming back to my first message. If we increase our work from home frequency, we reduce our energy costs and carbon emissions. So here on the left graph, you can see the monthly carbon emissions in the UK in both the summer and winter for the different commuter types that I've just explained. We can see that type 1 obviously has much higher carbon emissions than type 3, who works from home all the time. Same goes for the average monthly energy costs. So we see that there's more than a 55 emissions reductions if you work from home on all days of the week, and up to a 30 cost reduction if you only work from home for 2 days of the week. So working from home actually really reduces your energy bills. Okay, coming to the second message, working from home solves the demand-supply alignment problem. Now we see the same graph as before, but we see that the load curve is much flatter and more evenly distributed throughout the day if we work from home, and that we are also at home while the sun shines. So the fraction of time where we can directly use solar energy has grown a lot compared to the last graph. Here we can see the distribution of the distribution of solar energy and grid energy that we use to charge our EVs. And we can see that if we commute to work on every weekday, we can barely ever charge our EV with solar energy. So it's just 1%. If we work from home on 3 days, then it's already 10 times more, so 10%. But if we work from home all days, then it's going to be 60%. Okay, and now if we introduce the bidirectional EVs, we see that we can use the renewable energy that we produce during the whole day, because we charge the EV whenever there's excess solar energy, and then just take it out of the car whenever there's any load and the sun is not shining anymore. And our experimentation has shown that if you work from home only 2 days per week, you don't even need storage in most cases anymore. And if you use bidirectional EVs combined with an optimal operation policy, you can reduce the total system cost by more than 80%, which is quite extensive. So now that we've seen these different things, it becomes clear that designing a microgrid is a highly personalized matter, and you need to take into account different things like bidirectional EVs, work from home frequency, EV charging preferences, operation preferences, and other lifestyle nuances such as family constitutions. So to conclude, I want to summarize the messages again. First, working from home reduces energy costs and carbon emissions. Second, working from home allows to increase energy self-consumption. And third, if we combine working from home with bidirectional EVs, we can reach a future where we use 100% of the renewable energy that we produce. I want to thank my collaborators, and yeah, I'm happy to talk afterwards at the drinks reception if you have any thoughts on this topic, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.